I hid my brother from the police. It wasn't because he was guilty, it's because he wasn't. And I knew once they took him in, they'd crush him before he ever got the chance to explain. That night, the rain was pouring from the sky, and my brother Jericho sat shaking on the floor of my room, his hoodie soaked through and all color drained from his face. They think I did it, Beth, he whispered. They think I robbed that gas station. I stared at him, my heart stuck in my throat. You didn't, right? His eyes met mine. They were wide and terrified, but most importantly, they were honest. No, I was there, but I didn't do it. I stopped for gas right before it happened. I saw the guy run out, but when I drove off, I guess one of the cameras caught my car. Outside, I could hear the sirens getting closer. Get in the crawl space, I said. He blinked. Beth, do it now. I pulled up the rug, lifted the wooden hatch, and helped him climb in. I shoved his backpack down beside him, then dropped the rug back in place. Seconds later, the pounding came. Police! Open up! The cops were hunting for him like he was a murderer. Jericho was 19, a sweet and quiet guy who worked part-time at the deli while saving for community college. The idea that he'd rob a gas station was laughable, but they had so-called evidence, a blurry security photo of a silver Honda that matched his. When I opened the door, 2 officers stood there, soaked from the rain. Bethany Lowe? The taller one asked. Yes, I said, trying to keep the fear out of my voice. We're looking for your brother, Jericho Lowe. He's wanted for questioning in connection with a robbery that took place tonight at the local gas station. I faked a confused look and said, robbery? Jericho isn't here. What's going on? The officer's eyes narrowed with suspicion. We received a tip that he came home. Do you mind if we take a look around? I tried to keep a straight face because I knew that if they found him, it was over. Once he was in custody, the real thief would disappear, and Jericho would be nothing but a scapegoat. Go ahead, I said, stepping aside. They searched every room, but thankfully the crawl space wasn't obvious, because if they had lifted the rug, they would have found him trembling beneath the floorboards. When they finally left, promising to check back soon, I locked the door and collapsed against it to calm myself before pulling open the hatch. You okay? I whispered. He barely nodded. They'll come back. I know, I said. We will find a way to fix this. For 2 days, I kept my brother hidden. I told Mom he'd gone camping with friends. I brought him food, charged his phone, and used my laptop to try finding proof that someone else did it. The news station showed security footage of the robber wearing a black ski mask, but his jacket looked a lot like Jericho's, which didn't help matters. Then came the worst part, a video posted online by a witness who claimed she'd seen Jericho's car speed away from the scene. It was shared thousands of times. Jericho started pacing the small crawl space like a trapped animal. I should just turn myself in, he said one night. They might believe me. They won't, I said, not without proof. The next morning, 2 detectives came by again. One of them, Detective Henline, had sharp eyes and an even sharper tone. Bethany, he said, stepping inside without asking. We know he's been in contact with you. Phone records don't lie. He handed me a photo of Jericho at the gas station, pumping gas, time-stamped 20 minutes before the robbery. Looks suspicious, doesn't it? He said. Or, it proves he wasn't the robber. The detective's eyes flickered, just for a second, like he wasn't sure. Then his radio crackled, and another officer's voice came through saying something about Jericho's car being found abandoned nearby. Detective Henline turned back to me. If you know where he is, now's the time to speak up. I didn't. Not yet. That night, I made a decision. We couldn't hide anymore. We needed to prove his innocence. Jericho told me about the man he'd seen leaving the gas station, the real robber. He was shorter than me, stocky, and wearing a green hoodie with a yellow log on the sleeve. We scrolled through the internet, searching local chats and posts. After hours of searching, we found him. A guy named Kevin Jenkins. He had the same build and was even wearing the same hoodie, bragging in a private group about easy money. I sent screenshots to the detective from an anonymous email, along with a time-stamped photo showing Jericho's location on his car's GPS, proving he was miles away from the gas station when the robbery took place. The next day, the police raided Kevin's apartment. They found the stolen cash and the weapon he had used in the robbery. Later that day, the detective returned. I owe you and your brother an apology, he said quietly. We got the real guy. Jericho stepped out from the hall, shaking from frayed nerves. You're free to go, son. A few days later, we were sitting on the porch and he said softly, you could have turned me in, but you didn't. I knew it wasn't you. I replied, I guess sometimes the truth just needs someone stubborn enough to fight for it. He grinned.